Good evening and welcome to the Government News Brief for Monday, May 9, 2016. In the news, the FIU to be functional soon, a professional foreign services in the making, and Surama upgrade its eco-lodge facilities. I am Azim Khan and this is the Government News Brief. Stay tuned. The criteria for the selection of Guyana's diplomatic representatives have changed as the administration works towards rebuilding the professionalism of the Guyana Foreign Service.
According to Foreign Minister Carl Greenidge, the focus is now on recruiting a distinguished cadre of Guyanese diplomats with the competence, training, experience, and intellectual capacity to represent Guyana's interests abroad.
We try as far as possible to ensure that you recruit capable persons familiar with the practice of diplomacy, that are familiar with the requirements of international law, that can work with persons on the other side, whether the persons are drinking partners, whether they're male or female, whether they are physically repulsive or attractive, that is immaterial. Their task is to be clear as to what the government's goals are in pursuit of the interests of the people of Guyana and work on it.
In pursuit of this, Minister Greenidge explained that the ministry is reaching out and embracing critical Guyanese talent at home and in the far-flung corners of the world, regardless of their ethnicity, creed, or political affiliation.
So the confusion that we had before over whether black people are appropriate to be ambassadors or how have you, is not part of the discourse. What we're seeking to do is to recruit persons who have either by way of experience, actually negotiating experience, diplomatic experience, technical experience, or by way of training. Okay? We put them on the hot seat, as it were, to help us to fashion policy. And in that regard, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be accountable for the work that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs does.
From a time when Guyanese Foreign Service officers were well trained and rated among the most astute in the world of diplomacy, diplomatic postings over the years have nosedived.
What I'm saying is that because the ranks of ambassadors has for 20, 23 years been filled by one set of persons who have not really rotated, then you have a backlog at the bottom of persons who, whilst they may be skilled, have not had the experience. A number of those younger persons have been now moved out to the foreign missions to work alongside the ambassadors and consuls generals who have been appointed.
Government has pledged to rebuild and recapture the professionalism for which the Guyana Foreign Service was well known. The service is to be restructured to provide better representation in the areas of advancing Guyana's trade and economic interests, protect the country's territorial integrity, and improve relations with its neighbors. For this Government News Brief, I am Namila Baines Rowe.
The Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU, will soon become functional. Here is more in this report.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan says that the process of recruiting critical staff to make the FIU functional is almost complete. The FIU is the body tasked with the implementation of the anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism legislation.
It is our hope that this FIU process will be in place hopefully by the end of this month or early next month, right? Because I think the application process has closed, and the Committee of Parliament, I think the Committee of Parliament is supposed to meet, or they have been meeting to do criteria, to look at the list and so on and so forth. So I am hoping that this process can be quickly come to an end and that the people will be in place.
The FIU existed previously with limited staff capacity, resulting in no one being identified or persecuted for the crime of money laundering and related activities. Several critical amendments to the AML legislation have been passed since the government's ascension to office. Additionally, the administration is looking to make the FIU an independent body now.
We are now trying to put the FIU on a formal footing. And not only put it on a formal footing, have its autonomy, independence, and the way and the transparency of the recruitment of the staff. The last head of the FIU was recruited solely by the last government. This head of the FIU and the deputy head and the lawyer and the accountant and so on, of positions that have been advertised very long ago, are going to be recruited through a process, a parliamentary process, that involves the opposition.
Government on May 4, 2016 passed the amendments to the AML-CFT bill, paving the way for Guyana to apply to exit the Financial Action Task Force FATF process. The FIU will now play a critical role in implementing and enforcing components of this legislation, which is expected to be assented to by President Granger shortly. Renetta LaFleur, Government News Brief.
Foreign production has the potential to turn around the economy in 2 Region 9 communities, as we hear in this report.
The Waweta and Mokomoko villages have started construction of foreign factories which will boost the economies of the communities and also enhance disaster preparedness efforts. The Waweta Women's Agro-Processing Group recently met with a ministerial delegation and gave them an update of their venture. Waweta Women's Agro-Processors Group chairwoman Priscilla Torres explains.
Fully equipped, where we can see a lot of youths, more youths being employed there in different areas within that facility.
The approximately $40 million Canadian-Guyana joint project will be operated on 30 acres of land that has been set aside for cassava crops to supply the factory, which is being expanded to 100 feet in length. The workforce of mostly women will be employed via a weekly shift system. Ugandan volunteer consultant Patrick Kayamba explained the 3 main components of the project.
1 is disaster preparedness, 2 business development, and 3 food handling. And when you look at food handling, we are looking at quality and safety issues. When you look at disaster preparedness, we are looking at this facility to have a stockpile of 10,000 pounds of farine at any given time, so that in an event that you have any disaster, natural disaster, this facility can be able to provide the necessities.
In the Mokomoko village, a few miles from Lethem, a similar facility is also under construction.
As individual indigenous people, we feel proud of the project because it will benefit the community and the other indigenous communities around by producing cassava and extending our farming. So we are not in the process of yet, but we would be by July.
Paul McAdam, Government News Brief.
In today's Reflection of Independence, prominent Guyanese broadcaster and PR and advertising entrepreneur Vic Insinali shares his recollection of the country's atmosphere and mood of the people on May 26, 1966, when Guyana officially became an independent nation.
Said goodbye to a past where it was God Save the Gracious Queen, and we were now singing about our independent country, you know? Yes. And all these patriotic songs of Guyana that suddenly came to the fore, that started a nation with the highest hopes.
Mothers of Bartica can now rest assured knowing that their babies will receive the best quality health care. Shivani Rampasar tells us more.
The Ministry of Public Health, in collaboration with the Guyana Help the Kids, recently commissioned a neonatal intensive care unit at the Bartica Regional Hospital in Region 7. This unit will ease the burden of women who may have had to travel from Region 7 to Regions 3 and 4 for specialized health care.
While the NICU provides a better and clearer environment for infants, doctors and nurses stationed in the ICU and will provide the necessary specialist care for infants. These persons would have undergone training in the areas of neonatal care and pediatrics and are now fully capable of providing better care to all babies born at the Bartica Regional Hospital.
President David Granger, who was also a part of the inaugural ceremony, told the gathering that there should be no reason why babies have to die and that no resident should have to leave his or her region to access public services.
What has been taking place is part of the bigger picture, the bigger idea that we have. And Dr. Norton is quite aware of my concerns about child mortality. And he and I were on something of an odyssey at the beginning of this year as we were looking for some temporary facility. And I said, no matter what it costs, there must be, sooner or later, a national maternity hospital. But this is one step in that direction.
The establishment of the unit is part of a project that was facilitated by the Guyana Help the Kids Foundation, which has targeted the 5 main hospitals. The vision for this project is to provide care to newborn babies and to ensure that the necessary facilities are in place to save them. The program has trained 10 local pediatricians to date. Thus far, for 2016, 30 neonatal intensive care unit nurses were also trained. The Bartica Regional Hospital's main operating theatre was also refurbished and reopened. For this government news brief, Shivani Rampaswad reporting.
Surama village in the North Rupununi Region 9 is moving to upgrade its facilities to better serve visitors to its Eco Lodge. Here is that report.
The Eco Lodge, which is an economic lifeline for the indigenous community's approximately 300 residents, will be offering more for its guests, according to manager Jacqueline Alicock.
We're trying to upgrade, have better facilities in terms of accommodations and trails so that we could have our activities going.
The village council is also focusing on having all of their operating licenses and permits in order.
We were running under the Amerindian Act. We think we were covered by that, but now by GRA is meeting out, and they're asking for a lot of information based on the business, and then we find out that some of these things are missing. So what we are trying to do is to have these things in place, and then we are ready to move forward with the business more than how we already have here.
Alicock explained that despite less business compared to the same period last year, the venture is still doing fairly well as it continues to attract overseas clients. Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin stated that once more investment is made in the facility, even more business opportunities will open up.
I think that would allow more of these projects to develop in this particular area, because right now they're pretty much cut off and these places are difficult to get to. So if we can make them easier to get to, then I believe that they can be promoted more widely and more people can come and enjoy and return to places like these.
Paul McAdam, Government News Brief.
This has been another edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GNA's website. We encourage you to subscribe to our website and YouTube channel. You can also like and follow us on Facebook to be informed as the news unfolds. Remember to join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching.